Hey guys, how's it going? I am recording X-Plane 10. I'm using real weather, real time right now. If you go to environment date, you'll see I'm always tracking real time right now. You go to weather. I'm grabbing real weather from the net. I'm actually going to re-download the weather. You can actually view different clouds and a bunch of different other cool stuff that's going on with the scenery. Just give it a second to finish downloading. But if you want, you don't have to use real weather. You can also grab real weather from a master machine. You can paint weather patterns. You can set just different random weather patterns if you want, or you can just set weather uniformly for the whole world. It's up to you what you want to do. So I'm actually going to exit. This is the A380 I got from X-Plane 10 add-ons. I just searched X-Plane 10 add-ons on Google. And it was the first thing that came up. It's off of Laminar Research, off their website, and it's a really cool, really cool aircraft. Not the official version though. So we're actually going to be flying from I think it's KJFK to KSWF. If you go up to location, local map, yes, KSWF right here. This little green marker right here, you can see, is actually. Let me clear up my. Oh, never mind. Anyway, so KJFK is right here. It's the airport I'm at, and we're going to go up to KSWF, which is right here. We're going to be landing on runway 9. We're going to be doing ILS Category 3 approach. The ILS Cat 3 approach, we have to set our nav 1 to 110.10. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to go view forward with panel. Go all the way down here. And I've already set it. But what you do is use this knob on the right side, lower right side, and change it to 110. Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah, let's do it right now. I'll show you 110, and you use a smaller one to change the lower digits on the right side. And you take it to press the middle mouse button or the middle arrow button, and it takes it back to active since I already have it though. So, in order to put a flight plan, there's several ways of doing it. You can, if you actually go off of it's a different website that I use to actually get like legit flight plans and stuff off the web, and actually puts like waypoints on your MFD display, screen number 2. And you can also just load it from here, and I actually have a bunch of them right here, right? KJFK to KBWI or KJFK to EGL, or a bunch of different airports or flight plans. You can load them up there and automatically load your segments. But for now, I'm just going to press this little invisible black mark right here and type in KSWF right here, and it should tell me it's 53 miles away apparently. So I want to clear this up for a minute because I really don't care about traffic around me. I don't care about waypoints. I don't care about VORs or I forgot what WDB stands for. But if you use this one right below the TCAS, little knob over here, you can actually view the airport right here on my map. So what we're going to be doing is I'm actually going to be flying parallel with the runway, and then I'm going to do a block format, right? A block approach path, if you want to call it that. So I'm going to take my heading to 314, take my speed to 250, right there. I'm going to take my altitude to 10,000 feet, vertical speed to, we'll just keep it at 1,500 right for now. The reason why you want to keep your speed below, well, per FAA rules, you're flying legitly. You're supposed to maintain below between 250 knots and below 10,000 feet per FAA regulations. I don't know why. I think it's because of noise allowance and stuff like that. So I'm going to turn my bust highlights on, my NIIs, because I don't remember how cold it gets at 10,000 feet. Turn my seatbelt sign on. And my baro knob, if you want to get your barometric pressure in order to get this to 0, you go to location, local map, zoom out. Zoom in to the airport you're at. Right here, and there should be a little blue dot and say KJFK in the airport right here. You click that, and it'll give you all the tower, the ground frequencies by using nav1 and com1, and also give you your altimeter setting, which is 2997. It'll give you a wind heading of 310 at 17 miles an hour, gusting to 24. It'll give you all the weather conditions. It's really cool. So 2997 is where I change our altimeter to 2997. We're about 20 feet above. That's perfect. So I'm going to bring my flaps down. I'm sorry for lagging just a little bit. So my flaps down twice to takeoff. Perfect. So then I'm going to maintain this view. I'm going to throttle up. Well, actually, no, correction before that. Actually, I'm going to decrease. I forgot one thing. So I'm going to turn my flight director mode on. I'm going to turn my autopilot on. Turn my heading, my vertical speed, and you can do this either way you want it. You can just manually push the throttles forward, or you can use the the autopilot panel. I'm using the autopilot panel for now, right? And automatically it'll engage. You'll see my engine start going up. So I'll wait for it to get above 55. Release brakes. And all I'm going to focus on is keeping my nose in the center of the center of the lines in the middle of the runway. So now we're rolling. And whenever my airspeed gets to stall speed, the nose will automatically start pushing up to my vertical speed of 1500, which should be about the second hash mark above 10. And because of the wind, I'm gonna have to fight the aircraft a little bit. So I've just hit rotation speed. Now I've taken off. Pull my gear up. Flaps up 1. Start increasing my airspeed. And this time I'm actually going to bank to the right. As you can see right now too, also if those red marks I'm approaching right there are overspeed condition. You don't want to hit that, otherwise the aircraft will break apart and people won't be happy basically. So I'm going to bring my flaps up 1 more. I'm going to bring my vertical speed up to 3000. And throttles automatically control themselves to maintain that speed or try to reach that speed and hold it. So the whole point of this is I'm going to try and fly parallel to the runway, make a block format approach to the runway. Whenever I get to 10,000 feet, I'm going to increase my speed to 300 knots. Should be fairly soon. Because the wind is actually moving me a lot. As you can see right here, I'm actually flying into the wind pretty much, and the wind's going at 25 knots right now. My true airspeed right here gives you your glide slope, right, and your true airspeed. My true airspeed is about 234, 35 knots. This is my glide slope and the up inclination, so I'm going to increase my vert speed to 3,500. And I'm going to turn my landing lights off, my taxi lights off. Landing lights and taxi lights are off. Keep my seatbelt sign on until we hit 5,000 feet, which we already have, so I'm going to turn my seatbelt sign off. So I'm going to go view, chase mode. You can see the aircraft is getting buffeted by wind as we're approaching clouds. View back forward to panel. Actually, no, view chase. So also another thing you can do while you're flying too, you can go back to a local map, right? So we are going to KSWF. You can see my heading. I actually want to be more parallel to the runway, so I'm going to take my heading to 270. So heading, we're going to take it to the left till it reads 270. As we're approaching our altitude, I'm going to decrease my vertical speed to 1,500. You can see the realism of the clouds and weather. It's really amazing. I love this. So because the wind is pushing me in a different direction, I'll actually want to take my heading over about 2 to 3 degrees, try to maintain heading of 270 because the wind is pushing me in a different direction. So just to maintain heading of 270, I have to bring my heading over to, it looks like 4 degrees to the right. About 4 degrees. Actually get away with 1 degree to the right, or one more to the left, actually. Let's do that, 273. So I want to go view chase mode. You can see my aircraft is actually in clouds right now. View below me. An aircraft shaking from the wind. You can see the realism of the actual of the buffeting of the wind. You can see there's clouds above me and the sun. Alright, so now that I've hit my altitude, as you can tell, altitude automatically engaged when I hit 10,000 feet. I'm going to actually bring my airspeed up to 300 knots. I won't actually hit 300 knots. So I'm going to take it actually up to 310 just to try and keep it at 300 knots. You can see my true airspeed right there is actually going to be going actually pretty high. So the aircraft bases your true airspeed by or your airspeed basically by your true airspeed and your indication right there. So even if you have it set to 300 knots or 310, wherever it is, it won't actually hit that based on what condition it has over here. Like this, I'm approaching my overspeed from my true airspeed, so it's not going to hit that actually there. So actually, you know, I'm going to bring it down to 300 again. So if I hit a overspeed condition, it'll mess up my mess everything up. So alright, so we're at cruising altitude. I'm at heading of 270. I'm at 10,000 feet, flying in the clouds right now, as you can tell. Actually, you know what? Let me go to settings, rendering options. I'm actually going to change my rendering options so I get better frame rate. So I apologize for the middle of the game adjustment. That is because I want a better frame rate, so the video look a little bit smoother. Basically what it does is it loads latitude and longitude files, and yeah, that's about it. Give it a second to load, we'll finish the synchronization and a bunch of other good stuff. So there we go, finishing the synchronous loading. While waiting for it to load, I'll tell you some of my specs I have running on my game on my computer. I'm actually flying with the Cyborg Fly 10. There we go, a little better frame rate. Actually, not really actually any better, but I'm flying with the Cyborg Fly 10 joystick, and I have a i7 3770K processor on my computer. I have a 16 gigabytes of 1866 RAM by Corsair Vengeance. I'm running the AMD Radeon HD 7990 graphics card, and the Asus Sabertooth Z77, the one with the heat shielding on it. I'm running a Liga, I think it's LEGA 1600 watt power supply. It boosts up to 1700 watts. And the H100i CPU cooler, which is absolutely amazing actually to keep everything cool in my computer. So, alright, enough of that. Back to the game. We're back here again. Chase mode. See how we're doing. You can see we're leaving some clouds away from behind us. There's an airport to the lower right of me, looks like. Yep. So view forward panel. Alright, so we're going to go back to location, local map, see how we're faring according to this runway. We're actually parallel with the runway finally. Perfect. So that's perfect. And shortly we'll begin a 90-degree bank to the right to line up better with the runway. So just gonna sit here for a while and have some fun. Alright, and our distance from our airport is 56.7 nautical miles away. So our first right turn to the runway, I'm going to be decreasing my altitude to about 3,000 feet, about between 3,000 and 2,500 feet to line up with the glide slope. You have many different category of runways. You have Category 1, Category 2, and Category 3. From what I recall, Category 1 only provides limited information. I think it's localizer. Cat 2 provides you localizer and glide slope information. Or, yeah, localizer and glide slope. And Cat 3 will do localizer, glide slope, and also land the aircraft for you. Alright, so we are still doing fairly well on our heading. We're still at 270, which is perfect. I'll be banking to the right to heading of 003 here shortly. Also, it depends on what you want to do with your aircraft. You can also speed up the time and how fast you fly. You can basically increasing ground speed. That's all it is. So the flight doesn't take as long as how many hours it takes. Well, it indicates down here. Like an ETA right now is 11 minutes to make it to the airport. But since I'm doing a block format, I'm actually going to be taking a little bit longer. But this right here, this information is only if you're flying directly to the airport and just gonna land on any old runway. It does this line right here does not line up to any runway. It just lines up to the middle of the airport. So here we are. Looks like we're doing fine for now. Me and my friend were actually flying the same route, just a little bit deviation. It's if you can find someone else to play with, X-Plane 10, it's a lot more fun. Not as tedious or boring, and you actually learn a lot too when you're playing this game. Okay, so we're gonna begin our right-hand bank whenever this we hit 65 nautical miles to a heading of 003. Decrease my speed and my altitude. I'm gonna be going altitude or speed of 250 knots. My altitude down to 5,000 feet. I'm gonna take it down to 5,000 feet. Correction, my last. So we are approaching 65 nautical miles away from the airport here shortly. Another cool thing for ILS approaches, instrument landing system, right? The localizer, which is your heading, or basically your heading, right? Lining the aircraft up with the runway, engages at 15 nautical miles. Your glide slope, which is APP over here, engages at 10 nautical miles away from the airport. It'll automatically engage, turn off heading, and turn off altitude, and APP will turn green. So here we go. So heading of 003. Well, actually, yeah, 003. Yeah. I'm actually going to decrease my airspeed right now while I'm at it. And decrease my altitude beforehand. To 5,000 feet. Take my vertical speed down to minus 1,000. Engage it. The aircraft is automatically turning to our heading, so and it should automatically start lining up. So actually, I'm going to take it heading of 000. Actually, 359. 358 maybe. Let's take 359. As I'm saying, the wind is currently pushing my aircraft from the from heading of 320. That's why I must push my nose farther to the left in order to maintain this current heading. So turn it one more. 001. Perfect. Location, local map. Let's see how we're lining up with the runway. And we are indeed perpendicular to the runway according to our approach is going to be. So we're just going to maintain this heading, this altitude. I'm actually increase my vertical speed down to 1500. Sorry about the hydraulic pressure. It's just buffeting my flaps and my spoilers right now, so that's why you're getting indication. You can see my spoilers are moving right now. And you can tell right now our how many nautical miles that we are away from the airport is going down slowly because we are actually moving closer to the airport itself. So whenever we hit 5,000 feet, I'm going to decrease my speed to 180, drop my flaps, actually no, correction, 200 knots, and drop my flaps down 1 to line up with the runway. Well, I'll figure it out when I get there. You can see the mountain. There's mountains in front of me right now. There's farmland, roads, a bunch of scenery around me. It's pretty cool. So view for the panel again. We have different displays right here. You can actually change right from right here. You can go to, my bad, down here. You can go to fuel. How much fuel I have? I have 277,000 pounds of fuel. Status of the aileron, rudder, and elevator. They're shaking around right now because of the wind, and aircraft's flying to maintain this altitude or this glide slope and this heading. Hydraulic status. I honestly don't know what that's about. I should know. I'm just gonna keep my keep on my engine status. Radar altimeter just engaged, or radar altimeter marker. That's all it was. Alright, so now I'm coming up to my, coming close to altitude. I'm bringing my vertical speed up to 1,000. You want to gently approach your altitude, otherwise your aircraft will overshoot and your aircraft will have to fight for that altitude again. Alright, so we're coming up here shortly. Altitude just engaged. The aircraft's going to slowly bring itself back up to level. Another thing to explain about this: this has a HUD display on it, heads-up display. Your altitude display on your right side, your airspeed on the left, your bank angle right here. This is the big wide one is your rudder location, right? So aircraft is flying by rudder, trying to keep the maintain its heading. This small triangle right here is your bank angle. This is 10, 20, and 30 degrees. You don't want to overbank, which is going past 30 degrees. Is the third marker right here. These are your horizon indicator, and this is your airplane attitude indicator. These are your pitch positions, 5 degrees, 5, 10, 15, all the way up to 90 or 89. I think it's 85, and then it just goes blank at the very top. So we'll go view forward to HUD again. I'm actually going to decrease my speed down to 200 knots now. And the aircraft is going to bring its nose up just a little bit. As you can see, we're already bringing our nose up to maintain the altitude, so decreasing lift. View forward to panel again. It's actually a very easy aircraft to fly, very easy to handle. Very fun to fly, let's put it that way. Another thing I want to show you guys too is you have your trim tabs right here, your rudder and your aileron. I'm not sure which one's rudder, which one's aileron. One of these two is rudder, one of these is aileron trim, and this one is your elevator trim, up and down. Right now the aircraft is maintaining my current altitude by trim. I'm going to bring my flaps down 1. And now my nose is going to be pushed down to maintain the altitude. I just add a little more lift. We are coming up on our final turn to KSWF, and actually if we load in, let's actually zoom in a little bit, see what the baro setting is. 2997. Winds coming from heading at 310 at 15, gusting at 23. Visibility is about more than 15 nautical miles. Sky conditioning is about 5,000 feet is the clouds, where the clouds are at. The base of the clouds, my bad. You can see a beautiful, gorgeous aircraft. My flaps down 1 setting, as you can see. If you go to view forward of the panel, you can see my slats are down 10 degrees, my flaps are down 1. And now that we're running steady, we're not in any turbulence. Aircraft is flying steady at that heading now. We're not getting buffeted by any wind, surprisingly, so I'm taking my heading back to 003. Perfect. And then I'm going to be taking my heading to 093 here shortly. And this aircraft takes a while to turn, so I'm going to turn a little bit before my turn, or before I'm actually parallel with the actual runway itself, or perpendicular to the runway itself. Alright, we are 45 nautical miles away from the airport, so what I'm going to do here shortly is start my right-hand turn. Each ring, another thing I want to explain too, each ring on your map is 20 nautical miles, so this is the 40 nautical mile out range, and like the airport's about 45 nautical miles away. This is a very accurate portrayal, which I like a lot. Alright, now that we're coming up to our final, I'm going to turn the seatbelt sign back on and turn my landing lights on. Alright, as we're coming up on our final turn, I'm going to bring my altitude down to 2,500 feet after I turn. Just lining myself up better so I'm more perpendicular to the runway. Location local map. Perfect. We are fairly lined up perpendicular to the runway right now. The important key to lining up with the runway is, or having your ILS, gain ILS approach, so localizer and autopilot, or approach, localizer and approach while automatically engaged, is you want to line yourself up as much as possible with the runway. So the aircraft will bring itself gently down and do all the work for you. So it's just trying to find the perfect heading to the runway. And from there on, autopilot will do most of the job for you. So, alright, let me go back to local map. See, I'm lining up here shortly. Perfect. Looks like I'll be turning to 090 actually. There is an app on the Apple Store if you guys use it, or I don't know if they have one on Android, where you can actually connect to your computer while you're flying. So you have to keep doing what I'm doing, is going back and forth and looking at the map and where you're at. It'll actually automatically load up your aircraft on the little app, so you can get all your frequencies or your flight data from there. So it's a really handy tool if you guys ever want to use it. Alright, here we go. I think we're close enough for the turn, so let's go ahead and turn. Heading of 090. I'm actually going to turn it to heading of 080 just to line up better with the runway itself. I'm just going to adjust my my heading whenever I line up better to the runway. So I'm going to take my altitude down to 2,500 feet as we are approaching our... Take it down to 1,000, vertical speed engaged. Take my airspeed down to 180 knots. Bring my flaps down one more. Perfect. So I'm going to go to location again. Local map, I actually want to go a little bit to the left. Heading 070. As I'm a little bit to the right of the runway itself right now. Arm my localizer and autopilot. Actually, that's not arm them yet. We're still 38 nautical miles away. So let's go down to 40. Still a little far away. So let's go to location, local map. Let's turn a little bit more to the left. Heading to 065. Let's go 060. And I'm going to fly like this for a while until I get within, I'm going to say about 35. 30. Let's go 30. Yeah, this is perfect heading. Bring my flaps down one more. Airspeed down to 170. Vertical speed up a little bit. Altitude engaged. I'm actually lining up pretty nicely with the airport. with the runway itself actually, correction. And it changes now to 10, 20, and 30 nautical miles. These rings, they change depending on what setting you have it at. So now I'm going to turn, look at now, let's go back to location, local map. I'm actually going to turn to right now to heading at 090, looks like. Just slowly bring my aircraft degree by degree back to runway heading. Because we have our flaps down, it takes a longer time for us to bank to the right or bank any direction. So 085, 086 here shortly. Location, local map. As you can see, we're slowly lining up with the runway. Perfect. I should keep it 085 for now. Local map. A little bit to the right side of the runway, but no worries. So I'm actually going to here shortly engage localizer and autopilot, or approach again. Don't know why I keep saying that. When we get within 20 nautical miles out, I'm going to engage bring down my flaps down full, my gear down to reduce my speed to 140. 20 nautical miles out. Have a look at our aircraft right now. We have our flaps down. Landing lights are on. Airport is somewhere in front of us. We're leveled out at 2,500 feet. Heading down to 090. Roundabout. See if I can see the runway in front of us. I think it's right around there. I'm going to go ahead and start decreasing my speed down to 140 knots. Bring my flaps down full. Bring my gear down. Gear is coming down. Flaps are down full. Arm localizer, arm approach path. And we are fairly lined up with the runway right now. So we'll maintain 2,500 feet for now. Let's see, where speed up to 145. Perfect. As you can see, localizer just armed. The green line is the heading of the runway, or where the runway is at. The purple bar right there is what lines us up to the runway. And if you go view forward with HUD, You can actually see the localizer is engaged automatically and is drawing our aircraft to the left, apparently. So apparently I'm somewhat far off. Yes, I am a little bit off the runway. So the aircraft's going to keep turning to the left till it seeks the runway heading, which should be somewhere in front of me right now. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. It's right down there. So we have plenty of time before we finally line up with the runway. That's the awesome thing about, the arrow mark right there is the heading of the runway. My bad. And the localizer will is actually going to try and bring us my aircraft back to heading of the runway. So. And whenever this bar slowly starts creeping to the right, the aircraft will start centering itself. As you can see, the runway is about right in here. So the aircraft will start turning here shortly to the back to the right, chasing that line till it reaches, so let's line up with the center. I think that's the airport over there. There we go. Yep, that is the airport or runway right there. And you can see the line slowly starting to creep back to the right, so the aircraft's going to bank to the right to follow it. And now my approach glide slope, my glide slope has started automatically engaged. And my aircraft is starting to turn back to the right to follow that glide slope down to the runway. And location local map, you can see that the aircraft is seeking it back. And I'm actually going to disable throttles and control this by myself. And depending on how fast you are going, your how far up and down your or the circle, I guess, your impact on Earth is going to be. So once we are aligned with the runway here shortly, I don't know why the aircraft's taking so long to line up. Perfect, you can see the runway down there, down the center of my screen. Or the airport, my bad. Airport. Oh, never mind, my bad. Wow, wrong airport. I apologize, right there. My bad, the airport's right there. The airport and the runway is right there. That's a different runway, my apologies. So, basically the aircraft's going to slowly bring itself down onto the middle of the runway of some sorts. As we get closer, I'm going to show you guys more features that's really cool about this game. Decrease my speed a little bit as we're approaching. You see the clouds are still around and about. It's starting to become nighttime. So I should go back to W, turn my taxi lights on too. And my aircraft nose right here is actually pointing to the left because the wind is pushing me from this direction right here. If you go to view forward with panel, oh my bad, it's actually correction from this side, so it has to push itself to the other side to fight it, so it'll align itself with the runway. The aircraft will chase the glide slope, so it's normal for the nose to pitch up and down. Just follow the airspeed with it. We're at 3,220 feet. Looks like we're going to be slowly descending down to the airport now. I apologize, my game will freeze randomly. I don't know why. It's some sort of defect. There we go. You see that the center line is lining up with the runway. The big round circle is seeking the runway. Another good thing to do is try to keep a constant speed while you're doing this. It's very hard though when you got a lot of crosswind and especially a lot of weather around too. So now, if you guys can see, there's a bunch of lights over here on the left side of the runway. The easy way, basically that's all your glide slope. It's your glide slope indication, right? So if you have 4 red, means you're dead. 4 white means you're too high. You want 2 red and 2 white. So if you see 3 white, it means you're a little too high. Or 3 red, it means you're a little too low and you pull up a little bit. Like right now, I'm looks like I'm a little low, but there we go. Now it's seeked it back to the glide slope. Or sought it, my bad. Now, crosswind landings are really a pain in the ass because, especially when you have gusting winds like this, it's hard to figure out how the aircraft's going to handle when it hits the runway. So a lot of times I've noticed too is that my aircraft likes to yaw violently whenever I hit the tarmac or the runway itself. So I mean, there's really nothing you can do about it. I think I'm actually going to hit this runway just a little hot. Yeah, it looks like it. And you see the aircraft's actually yawing. It's using rudder to line myself up with the runway. I have no idea what that beeping was about. Now you can see better the lights are 2 red and 2 white. That's what I want. If you do this by hand, you can maintain a little bit right rudder by twisting like mine. I twist the base of the stick itself to maintain my rudder, or you can just like my other friend, he has the same thing. Or you can just, if you have buttons assigned to it, I don't know. It's up to you basically. So. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this game is when you get closer to the runway with a lot of wind like this, sometimes it won't exactly land you dead center, or it won't land you in the center of the runway. Sometimes it'll land you left or right of it, so when you actually do make contact with the ground, it kind of messes up your whole way of bringing down the aircraft. So let's go to Shift 8 so you guys can view how I'm lined up here. You can see I actually have, I'm sitting sideways right now, my autopilot set up properly. Trying to bring the aircraft down. Count off right there how many feet I have till I make contact with the runway itself. And here we go. So right when I get close to the runway,
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And that was a really rough landing. As you can tell, I don't like runway landing, so or crosswind landing. So anyway, so I'm deploying my spoilers. I just deployed them. I've got my TRs deployed. And as you guys can see, right here, and I'm going to apply brakes. And decrease my, reduce my brakes. Put my TRs back. Bring my flaps up again. Wasn't the best of landings, but I mean, it's what you got. You can do it by hand too if you want. I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. You have a little bit of bounce there in my movement. So, but if you guys have any comments about this, me and my friend just did this flight before. If you guys have any questions about the flight, any kind of configuration, one of these days I will be flying an actual flight plan to show you guys how it works and give you all more information how to set up everything, and some pretty cool plugins I've got set up too. So if you have any likes, comments, I don't know, complaints or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll try to point them out. Some really cool stuff. So, all right, thank you guys for watching this.